In this video I'm going to try to replicate one of the most famous shallow aquascapes on the internet, Crimson Sky by James Finley and the Green Machine. If you have ever browsed YouTube for videos about aquascaping, you have probably seen some content from the Green Machine. Their videos are some of the highest quality and most watched aquascaping tutorials out there. These guys used to have a store in the UK, but unfortunately they closed in 2018, and since then they've also stopped making new content. I've spent many hours watching their videos and learning the methods, but I've never tried to copy or replicate one of their layouts. Well, today that's going to change. Crimson Sky is a beautiful shallow tank with massive rocks and only 3 different types of aquatic plants. So it shouldn't be too difficult to create something. Now, just like the Crimson Sky setup, I want to raise the light quite a bit. And in order to do that, I also got this special light stand from Skylight, which fits perfectly on this tank. That's the first part of the setup done, and it's looking great. We still need a filter and a CO2 system, but we will get to that later. Let's begin with the layout. James always starts by preparing the substrate, and he's always using these magic powders from ADA. I've never used them myself, but let's just give it a try. First up, we have ADA Clear Super. This is basically active charcoal powder, so it will help improve the water quality. Then we have Tourmaline BC. This is a mineral which will help the plant roots with absorbing nutrients. And lastly, we have Bacter 100, and as the name suggests, these are dormant beneficial bacteria. So with those magic substrate additives in place, we can now move on to the next step. James is using ADA Power Sand, which is basically pumice with more of those additives. I'm just going to use plain old crushed lava rock, and I'll sprinkle some more of those fancy powders on top of it. The final substrate layer is of course aquasoil. I'm going to be using aquasoil from Daniel Plants because that's what I have available. The next step is of course the hardscape. Now James used some very interesting rocks, or so-called fossilized wood. I've seen fossilized wood before, but it looked completely different, so I'm going to use something else. This is dragon wood, or as some people call it, honeycomb wood. I decided to use it because it has a lot of texture, and at the same time it's pretty flat as well, so that's perfect for this narrow tank. So this is where my layout will take a slightly different direction. Obviously it's impossible to create a one-on-one copy, and that's fine. I'm also going to add in some rocks. The dragonwood hasn't been pre-soaked, so I need something to stop it from floating, and these rocks will do just that. That's the hardscape pretty much done, and I think it looks great. The next step is to lock everything together, and as always I'm going to do that with cotton pads and liquid super glue. If you have never seen this before, I'm basically taking tiny pieces of cotton and wedging them in between the 2 points that I want to connect. Then I soak the cotton with liquid super glue, wait a few seconds, and it's absolutely rock solid. If you repeat this process a couple times, then your hardscape should be really sturdy. So with the hardscape done, we are now ready for planting. But before I do that, I'm just going to prepare the filter. I recently watched a masterclass video from MD Fish Tanks and Jeff Sansky, and I want to prepare the filter exactly like Jeff showed in that video. So I have a pretty large canister filter. This is the JBL E902 but I've taken out the original impeller and changed it to a slightly smaller one. So I still have a large filter capacity, but the flow is more appropriate for this tank. Then I'm adding some biomedia, as well as a big bag of activated carbon, and lastly a small bag of secant purgin. Now back to the tank. Something that James always did was adding substrate supports, and this is to make sure that the sloped substrate would stay intact. So I'm just going to create a few substrate supports out of an old tissue culture cup.